Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we have the Hollywood Racks RV Rider 2-bike platform rack. We'll take a look at how it fits our 2019 Entegra Coach Odyssey Motorhome. The Hollywood Racks RV Rider is really popular because of its great weight capacity and wheelbase capacity. It has more weight capacity than most of your RV rated bike racks, plus it has the stability of an RV rated bike rack. Now here with our Entegra Coach, we're going to focus on this motorhome, and one thing I'd like to say ahead of time is that we are using a unique Hitch adapter. So because of that, our measurements will be a little different. I'll give you the measurements of the adapter so that you can compare it with your own Hitch receiver. Usually, your bike rack would sit here in this Hitch receiver. So this adapter we have right now extends it out by 10 inches. Now this is fine because this gives us more clearance for another application, but just remember that if you are using a Hitch adapter, you do reduce your Hitch capacity's tongue weight. So just be mindful of that, especially when carrying around heavy bikes with a heavy rack. So what types of bikes can you carry around with this rack? I mentioned the great weight capacity. It is actually 80 pounds per bike, which is very impressive, especially for an RV bike rack. And I know people use this for their own vehicles as well. With that 80 pound per bike weight capacity, be mindful that that's going to be a lot of weight you're going to have to lift up and then hold as you strap things down. There are 3 touch points. 1 and 2 are going to be your wheel straps. So notice how this has a wheel hoop. This can carry up to a maximum of 5 inches of tire width, securing it by the front and the rear wheels. Remove the straps by pressing this lever, lifting up on the strap, and I like to pivot it out of the way of the spokes. And when you're securing the bike, you can hear it ratchet down so you know it's locked into place. The 3rd touch point is the frame mount, and this is sort of adjustable. You don't have a full pivot, but you can secure your bike by the frame. And notice here how there is a lock core. That way you don't have to worry about cable locks. You just lock the knob and then the clamp cannot be loosened. So here our knob is unlocked, so we're able to loosen the clamp, the jaws release our frame, and then we are able to pivot this out of the way. To take your bike off, that's going to be interesting when you have those heavier electric bikes. You do have to go around the mast. You can bring the mast down if you have a second person helping you out. So with that in mind, notice how I do it. Lift the bike up, bring it over, and then bring it back to the ground, and we are ready to hit the trails. So when I was talking about lowering the mast, what I meant was there is this gray knob here, and if you loosen that knob, you'll be able to remove a carriage bolt on the inside. This is also to help make the bike rack more compact. So once that pushes out, don't lose your split washer and flat washer, you can then pivot this down and then secure it again with a bolt, split washer, flat washer, and knob. Let's talk about measurements. So remember the 10-inch extension that I talked about? Well, when I measure from the bumper to the end of the rack, this sits at 33 inches. So usually it'd be at 23 inches of length added. Your handlebars are gonna add some length there too. And for ground clearance, that's measured from the bike rack to the ground. I have it at about 25 inches. Let's go to around 22 to consider our Hitch adapter. That's how high you're going to have to be lifting your heavy bikes to get onto the rack. And once you're at the campsite, if you do want to make this a bit more compact, especially behind your RV, what you can do is fold this up. Now you do have a knob and a clip here that you do have to deal with. If you want to fold it up, you start with the knob. If you want to tilt it away, you are going to remove this pin and clip. Since we are just folding it up, we're just going to remove this bolt here. You can tilt the rack away, but that's ideal only if the bikes are off of it because it is a very heavy system. So see how I moved that split washer and that flat washer? Now we can remove this carriage bolt. So now you can just fold this up by lifting on the rack, bringing it up into position, and putting that carriage bolt, split washer, flat washer, and the knob right back into the bottom hole. Measuring for closest point, from the bumper to the bike rack, I have it at 13 inches. So remember, we added 10 inches because of the adapter, and this ladder sits about 3 to 4 inches away from the bumper, which means unless you move this around, you are not going to be able to fold up your bike rack without interacting with your ladder. This fits into your 2-inch hitch receiver, and you have an anti-rattle bolt, but you also have an anti-rattle U-bolt. So the anti-rattle bolt goes into your hitch pin hole, and you have a lock at the end. You get about 4 keys with this rack. And then this tightens down and prevents up and down movement, while the bolt prevents side to side rattle. The locks on your anti-rattle bolt are keyed alike with the locks on your frame mount. So fortunately, with your keys, you only need to use one to access both your bikes and your bike rack. You can keep the others as spares inside your motorhome. So my personal thoughts about this bike rack is, even though it was a big hassle to put the bike on, take the bike off, fold the bike rack up, lock things down, I think it is worth it if you have those extra heavy electric bikes, because that 80-pound weight capacity is very impressive, especially for a rack that is rated for use on a motorhome. There's already a lot of extra movement behind your motorhome, and knowing that this can withstand it with those extra heavy bikes makes it something worth considering and taking a look at. Now, if you do have bikes that are not that heavy and you don't need that extra weight capacity, there are some easier to use options. One would be the Yakima on-ramp with the included ramp, or take a look at something like the Swagman E-Spec and get the additional ramp and bridge add-on that are sold separately. You have a different weight capacity with those though, so check out our website here at eTrailer to double check and compare. We got bunches of pictures and videos to help you out with that. This video was a look at the Hollywood Racks RV Rider 2-bike platform rack, and so you saw it right here on our 2019 Entegra Coach Odyssey Motorhome.